Okay, so we've got Megatron all unboxed here and ready to go. We'll just take a quick look at the box though, just to kind of get that out of the way. It's a much larger figure than the others, so I kind of had to accommodate my space a little differently this time. So first and foremost, we'll cover Transformers. Obviously we've got the Generations logo there. We got some really nice box art for Megatron. And of course Combiner Wars. On the side, we got some more of that box art. Going down, Decepticon logo there. And of course we got the product shot of Megatron and his bio right there. Kind of the face, the look, the design. Holding his gun, bam. And we're going to go over here. 15 steps to change him, that's what they say. We'll see about that. And then there's the rest of that. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. And let's see what we have here. Oh, and he does come with the sticker sheet. And if anyone has been reading the prelude to Combiner Wars, I think it was the Chromia figure or the RC figure, has an explanation as to what the Autobot symbols are for. Don't really want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, but they are there in the packaging, so there you go. And then of course we have his card, Megatron, which looks nice, other than the fact that, you know, he's got the turret on his back. But he looks more Generation 1 Megatron in that picture, so, you know, give it for what it's worth, I guess. This Megatron is definitely G1 inspired, even though that his alt mode isn't the same. He carried over all the pretty basic and simplistic designs, everything from the molding of a gun hammer in the shoulder on both sides, bucket head, which we all know from the original cartoon and the figure. Of course, that was to symbolize the back of the butt of the gun, where your thumb would rest when he was transformed into a gun. In the chest as well. Same molds in the chest as if he was the gun itself. Of course, the turret on his arm is for the alt mode for the tank. And the legs, of course, have a semblance. Not dead on. None of it's dead on, because you're basically taking him in the shape of a tank and turning him into his G1 kind of state. But I am going to say, well, his keeping in his design is really good. His overall take of the fact that it's not exactly his G1 counterpart, you know, I'm not going to knock it off too much for that. So there we go. He does have some articulation. His arms can go full 360, and it got some nice ratcheting in there. His arms can come up. The downside to this is exactly that. That bugs me a little bit, because while he has the articulation, he clearly doesn't have the design to support having his arms look normal in a lot of different modes. I mean, you can get a little bit in there, and you can kind of hide it, but all in all, nothing says sticking out like a sore thumb like that red post right there. I mean, what are you going to do? I don't know how they could have done it differently. I wasn't in there for the decisions on how they were going to do his articulation. Armada Megatron from the same line suffers the same issues. You know, and that too kind of bugs me, but again, as for this figure, what are you going to do, right? You do have the articulation in the elbows. Again, heavy ratcheting. I like the ratchet, very much so. I like that sound, that clicky sound. You can twist the forearms around. And the hands themselves do twist. Closed fist. So there's no articulation in the hands. You can't really change up much of anything, so there is that. The other hand does have his cannon on it, and this of course extends out. I'll show you that during the transformation in tank mode. Technically, this cannon is supposed to lay flat in his arm like this, but doing so removes the ability to use his elbow. So I have moved it out and let it just sit like this on his hand, and then that way you can at least get his elbow to bend into a pose that is a little bit more appealing. His legs do come up and back. Again, they are on a ratchet. They come up. The side panel comes up as well to accommodate that. So that's rather nice. He does have some ratcheting in his knee. This one not so much. I mean, you kind of hear it, but not really. But that's it for the articulation. His ankle has a little bit right here, but really all that's designed for is for his transformation. That is not there for any other stability. This particular figure does have its issues with being able to stand. He either looks like he's got a pee, or just straight up and down, or he looks like he's carrying a watermelon under his shirt or something. I don't know. So it does kind of cause some questions about how to pose him when you want to have him out on a shelf or something like that. There are some mods out there, some people who have kind of said, hey, this is how you fix some of this. I haven't done it on any of the figures. Some people have just said as long as you take the figures one click out, one click up, and one click at the knee down, we'll do it for this too, at least you get a little bit easier pose. I mean, it doesn't look like he's just ready to drop a watermelon between his legs. So that's a little bit better. You know, get a kind of a side look at him here. The color scheme on this figure is closely resembling his G1 counterpart, because even as the gun, he had the red in his arms. He didn't have this much. He didn't have tank kibble on his back. Obviously, he had a part of the gun, the barrel of the gun on his back, and of course the sight was his cannon, his fusion cannon. But I don't know. There are third-party companies or groups that are making some of those G1 parts so that he can have the cannon back here while still having a lot of the tank parts, and as well as fixing the feet so they look a little bit more the way that they're supposed to. I think they're adding a piece to the barrel as well, so it looks more like his G1 counterpart. But I don't know if that's something I'll be getting. You know, because a lot of the third-party pieces are a little bit more expensive, especially, you know, since they aren't mainstream. You know, it's kind of a limited release on those, and that's understandable. But you know, being the fact that we're on a budget here, we can only do so much, you know, and so we just kind of have to take what we get and like it a lot of times. He does come with a dart. The dart does go in. Weak spring. I mean, he's not going to shoot it that far. So just push the button. Well, there you go, back there. I don't shoot him that often. In fact, I don't really keep the thing in there. So let's try it again. See if we can get it up here. So there you go. Let's try it one more time. I don't like the fact that I have to actually articulate the or move the cannon out a little bit to do this. This kind of bugs me. But given the fact that I don't shoot him, come on. I guess it doesn't really matter all that much. So let's just shoot that right off the desk. So there you go. That's his gun. The transformation is everything Armada Megatron is. I had a review from Armada Megatron that I was going to post a while back, but since I've gone through and made some changes to the format and how I'm going to be doing some things, that review is postponed, so I won't be doing that one itself. But we'll go ahead and go through the transformation on this one. I'll get you guys in on how that's supposed to work. I'll go ahead and straighten out his legs again. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take these down. They're on a hinge, a double hinge actually, I think. No, single hinge. It's just right in there. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's a little red. So it just kind of slides down, covers his hand. Other hand, same thing. Doesn't really click into place so much as that just plastic was hitting itself. You move the cannon back in to the forearm like as so. So it looks like that. You will turn the cannon up though, so you may want to turn it up before you do that. So it's going to face that way. Megatron's chest pops off. As you can see, there's a couple of posts right there. There's a couple of posts right here. And I'm assuming that's a spark chamber, which I think is a nice little addition to the figure. I mean, it's nice that they molded it in, especially in an area where they really didn't have to. Add a lot of detail. So this piece folds all the way up. And as you can see, there's the Decepticon symbol right there. The cod piece itself comes down. This too also tabs in. There's a tab right here, right there. Tabs into here. And then mini tabs right there and there. Conversely, go right there. So that's where those will go. I'm going to try to fix this up real quick. I was going to move the arms in, but let's not do that just yet. I'm going to fix the legs a little bit. And I'm not putting the legs all the way in their position, but I'm just setting it up. So the legs have a hinge right here. Pop those. They do clip in. As you can see, it's like there's a couple tabs. And you get a strong click when you put those in. It's a little bit busy there. So clip it in. So let's just get both these legs done, and we'll move the legs or the feet in. I'll move the feet in. And I'm sorry, this is a little awkward. He's really a large figure, so it's affecting my normal workspace or my new workspace for it. So that's why I'm a little bit clumsy with it. So let's go ahead and move his arms in, and they just move all the way up. The gun itself has a tab right there. Tabs into the arm right there to keep it together. Yeah, these are the same transformations for Armada Megatron. And then we go ahead and bring the legs down and in. And bring them down. Now the legs themselves, again, I don't know if we can see it all that well. There is a tab right here. There's a hole right there. And they are going to tab into place. The back itself, there's a tab here and a tab there. They have corresponding holes, so you know you'll have it in place when you put it in the back. So we untab those and bring them up. And then we will line them up tab to hole there and put those in. So, and then same thing for the other side. Tab to hole right there. And of course it goes underneath. And we're not quite done yet. And that there's these 3 tabs here. Oh, there's these 3 tabs here. 1, 2, 3. They don't actually tab into holes on the crotch piece here, but the crotch piece kind of works its way through here. Kind of holds it in place. Again, kind of just like that. So when you look at it the other side, you'll see the other 2 tabs there. So it's just, that's how it holds that piece in place. It does expose the back. It does not look fully transformed or completed. A little exposed. Not my favorite thing about this figure. But it is not a deal breaker really. I don't keep them in robot mode, so that's one of the reasons why I don't really care. Finally, you just pull the cannon out, and there you go. And let's go ahead and adjust this camera into a better position. And I'm going to knock the camera over. So there we go. There's the full tank. And there's the front. And the sides. The thing I like about this figure, the thing that actually kind of makes it for me, and it makes it for me on the Armada Megatron, is that this is soft plastic. There are wheels, they do rotate, and it moves. This all moves right through here, which is nice for a tank. I actually thought when I saw the, and I had made mention, like I said, on the original Armada Megatron, which you guys aren't going to see because I'm going to re-record it. So I'm making mention of it first here. In fact, don't even pay attention to the last few seconds. I'm going to mention this now. When I originally saw this figure, I thought this was hard plastic. I thought it was just all molded in and that there wasn't going to be any detail for the tank treads. And I was kind of disappointed in that because I thought it was an opportunity to definitely kind of impress people with a toy. And they went ahead and did it, so consider me impressed. I'm going to say this about the paint color. Hasbro doesn't usually do this very often. I love this gray. I love this gunmetal gray, shiny color. I think Hasbro needs to do more of this, especially, you know, with a lot of the characters. I think that it needs some of that to kind of help make them stand out. This gray really is beautiful, accented by the red. I love it a lot. Definitely worth it. So let me go ahead and grab. So let me grab Prime in comparison here. I'm going to go ahead and bring him out, and we'll go ahead and move this camera a little bit so you guys can see. As far as the size comparison goes, clearly a little bit bigger, a long run. Megatron has a little bit more room at the front here, and then of course the cannon, which I think the cannon's kind of cheapening it out a little bit, giving him the extra boost. I mean, if I wanted to bring it in cannon to cannon, obviously we'd line up Prime's cannon back here, and Prime pretty much from the front to back would almost be as big as the truck itself, or as the tank itself. I'm gonna bring it out in front, so kind of gives you that idea. As far as size comparison goes, a little bit more compact, and there's the corner of my messy desk. So there you go. And the turret does turn around, and it does do a full 360. Let me let's do this. So I said it kind of changed my workspace because the figure was much larger. That I'm a little clumsy today, so I apologize for being clumsy. Anyway, so there's that, and there's that. Let me get him back in robot mode, and I should have done this to begin with, and I didn't, but let's get some size comparison going on, and get my camera more stable so that I can show you guys without showing you corners of my desk and my workspace here. So just 1 second. Oh, one more thing, I actually forgot to show you the guns on him. So he did have the, you know, his personal weapons. They stick on here. So closer look at that. So there's the cannons, and then I'll go ahead and get them in robot mode, and then I'll show you some size comparisons with some of the other Combiner War figures. Okay, so there we go. It's back in robot mode. We got Prime in robot mode. I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, and I forgot to move his hand back in place as I put his gun in. So we'll move that back there, and we'll put his gun in his hand. There you go. So that's what it looks like. Yeah, the missile launcher and the gun combined together. And then we'll go ahead and put Prime in here. Now Prime is incredibly smaller, by a good head or so. And the head and shoulders height. So definitely kind of crazy there. Just to give you that idea. And then of course if we bring in 3/5 of Minosaur next to him, and we know Minosaur is definitely going to be a lot taller. Megatron comes up to about his lower chest, So kind of the same in articulation or scale. So bam, to there to pretty much the same thing, without showing you guys my messy desk again. So there you go for the articulation. I'm gonna get these guys out of here. And just to kind of give you an idea, here is Armada Megatron side by side. More or less from Buckethead to Hornhead standpoint, there is a little bit of height on the Buckethead versus the horns, but the horns do give him a little bit more height, so he is taller, Armada Megatron versus normal Megatron. But if you were to take the horns off and go head to head, Buckethead Megatron would be a little bit taller. All in all, there you go. Here's what I'm going to say about Armada Megatron versus G1 Megatron. I like the design. I think that they captured Armada Megatron very well. But this is about a $45 figure. And while I was lucky enough to get both, if I had to tell anybody, you know, if you had $45, that's your budget to get one or the other of this figure, I would say flat out that G1 Megatron is probably better. You know, not for any other reason than paint apps. I think the paint matches them a little bit better. The sculpt for the head. And for the price point. If I hadn't have found G1 or Armada Megatron first, and these were hard enough to find as it was in my area, I probably would have passed on them and just gone and waited for G1 Megatron, but that wasn't the case, sadly. So I'm not regretting my purchase on Armada Megatron, but I am saying that had I made the choice again and both options were presented to me first, G1 Megatron would have been the Megatron I added to my collection and probably just left it at that. So with that said, let me give you my final thoughts. And we'll go ahead and get some set up here. So with that said, my final thoughts are this. As far as design goes, I think that G1 Megatron Combiner Wars Leader Class is definitely worth 4.5 stars out of 5. Design and paint, as far as like paint apps go, trying to keep him to his original self. I'm definitely going to give 5 stars for that. I love the paint apps, and I like the sticker options that they give you so that you can follow along with the comic book. Articulation, I'm going to go with, honestly, I'm going to go with about 4 stars, 3.5 stars. I'm going to go 3.5 stars because you are limited by his elbows, especially with the cannon. There's only so much you can do, and his legs kind of leave a little bit to be desired. You're only left with a certain amount of posability. And cost, I'm going to go, honestly, I'm going to go about 4 stars on cost out of 5 because it is a rather pricey figure. And while you're getting some homage to his original setup, we're not getting a lot in the way of playability because you have to accommodate the fact that his gun doesn't really work with him very well. That you have to change it from its designed transformation in order to get some elbow movement. It is worth having from a collector's standpoint. I don't know that it's worth having from any other standpoint. Overall, if I had to add up all of it, I'm going to give this figure probably 4 stars. So my total cost, bang for the buck as it were, is a 4-star figure. So if you find it, pick it up. If you find this over Armada Megatron, pick this one up. That's my recommendation. So thank you so much, guys. We've got some new setup on how we're going to be doing the videos. So there are going to be cards popping up now with playlists for the other videos, from Star Wars to Transformers to my import figures. We have some more import figures coming up next, so be on the lookout for that. as well as some Transformers figures and a couple of Star Wars figures. So comment, rate. I ask you guys to subscribe. Come on in, man. Join the fun. And also check out Ryndur'dReviews.com, guys. We're going to be putting up photo galleries, as well as sharing some news that comes out. It comes out on the web. You know, our first day out, we got to at least post out the release for Star Wars 6-inch Ahsoka. So she's coming out in 2016, and the prototype design was out at Star Wars Celebration. So check out the website, check out that little photo gallery, and check out some of the other ones. We're going to be putting up some more. We've got Huffer up there, we've got Off-Road up there, and Megatron's coming up as we speak. So definitely want you guys to check out all the fun. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and let me know what else you guys want to see. I am the review for the collector on a budget, so check it out, man. Tell me what you want to see, what we can on a budget, and is it worth your money? So thanks again for tuning in, and looking forward to talking to you guys on my next review.